Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Spikes, and I want to get right into the show today because I think I'm going to need every bit of time that I got. And if you paid attention to last night's show, you realize how upset I really was. And again, I don't want to waste any time. I want to get right back into this because I need you to understand the reason why I was upset and the reason why most Americans should be upset. And I'm going to justify it. You see these candidates? I don't know if I can go to the left or right, but you see those candidates that's behind me? I want to give them all a good look. A good look. I want to give them that good look because today was supposed to be a show about them. Today was supposed to be a show about the 2028 Democrat president, and I'm saying that in that way because that's where I'm going into today, responsibility of taking that oath of office, sitting in the highest office in the land. That's what I'm doing right now. I want to establish with you how important that is. And I need to make sure that I'm in Instagram and everywhere in the right place because I want to make sure I establish this point good today. It's worth it. The 2028 Democrat presidential field. Right now, it's a sits, not as it's going to be in the future, but right now it's a sits. Each one of those individuals behind me are probably the top runners in the Democratic presidential field right now. They got a big task. They got to restore politics. They got to restore politics. They got to restore America. They have to restore America. And which one of them can do it, I can't tell you which one could do it right now because it's a crisis that we have to cover right this moment. I'm going to tell you something, and I want to be as frank as possible. I don't want to miss some words. I just need this to sink in your mind, just this little part right here. And it's my personal. It's got some of my personal feelings in it, and I'm not afraid to share them with you. When you have been stationed in Europe, as I have and was, anywhere far away from home, far away from family, far away from everything familiar, you understand a different kind of waiting. The hurry up and wait rhythm that goes on with being in the military. That deployment, you have a deployment mindset at all times. That feeling of being ready at any moment, even when the moment has not come yet. And in the middle of all of that, I need you to hear me. In the middle of all of that, hear just one line. You hear just one line that comes that kind of expresses who you are and what why I'm here and what I'm doing this for. And I think I say this every time I get to this point, but I'm gonna say it again and I'm gonna keep repeating it till somebody get it. When you station outside the U.S., when you are in another country, whether you're sitting in the hurry up and wait mode or whatever you're getting ready for, because the orders that were given to you was to hurry up and wait. And you're sitting there or you're going around and you just happen to be on free time. And then you hear this song at that particular point in time where I was. And it's in simple words. I'm proud to be American. Jimmy Green, I can't say more than that because I get penalized, but just to hear those words said in a way that he delivered them really means something to a soldier that's sitting, waiting to be deployed. You can't say anything bigger than that. A national anthem is nice, but it was meant for soldiers going to war back when the Star Spangled Banner was important. But when you hear that song, it's American GI and you're being deployed around the world. That's something that you can resonate with, go with, and understand. That's what it did for me. That's what it did for a whole club of GIs and some foreign nationals that was in that club at that time singing it out loud at the top of their lungs. It may not could have carried a tune for anything, but it meant something to those people and myself. You just it's just something that you can't carry. It's a pride within the nation that has been bestowed or instilled in you, that you come from a proud nation of people that represented who you stood for. They represent you, that the highest office in the land signified to the world that it was people that had that dedication to their country behind them. That's what it meant. I don't know where we dropped off, but I can tell you in the past year, all of that has been flushed down the drain. All of it. If you don't believe me, just go out there in any news media, anywhere that you see it, and you'll see. You know, I'm gonna tell you how deep I was prepared to get in. You see those people behind, they deserve every bit that I was gonna give them today. Let me bring this up because I need you to see. Gavin Newsom. I got it prepared. Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmire, Josh Shapiro, Pete Buttigieg, Wes Moore, Andy Beshear, and I got to lean over just a little bit, just J.B. Pritzker. You know, that was all prepared. But between what happened last night and what's going on today, I had to change it. But I need you to just go back with me a little bit, because I have to establish this, and I want to establish it in a way where every American should feel it within their soul. You do not need the chorus. The only thing that you needed was, I'm proud to be American. You do not need the band. That one line was enough at one time. Enough light something inside you that you did not even know was there, was waiting, lit up, lit the soul up, lit the body up. You knew that if you was going to war, not going out to play a football game on a Sunday, that ain't war. Because those people, they may come off the field in a stretcher, but they can get operations and things that'll make them normal in a normal situation. I'm not saying that's always the case, because I'm sure it's been somebody that's been killed on the football field, but it's not like going to war where you got soldiers lining up and they know that the enemy that they're facing is shooting back at them with guns that could possibly end their life. I need that to settle on your mind for a minute, because you hear these little league coaches and you hear all these people getting in fights and stands and all the rest of this around the world, but you don't hear them giving a speech asking people to go give their lives. That's the importance of what I'm saying. Yeah, this makes sense behind me, but what's transpired in the last 24 hours? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. You can't even give people justice. And I'm telling you, you know how far the 2028 elections are right now. We're in 2026, and I'm trying to give these people justice so we can have a reason to build up to who our candidates are. And I can't even do that today. But each one of them deserve their day. And I hope you go out there and investigate them. Because what I woke up to today, I need to put this in perspective so you can truly, truly get with me. And I said, when you station abroad and nobody else is there for you, and you have to make decisions, because, see, what the normal American public don't understand, and I'm going to take you through some of what I'm saying, because that's the reason, that's going to drive home the point. Just think about it, and I'm going to put it in this perspective. You got two soldiers, and GI means government issue people that stationed overseas, and they got a family. And if something like a war happens, they got to put together a package that is not being said in the media out there. They got to put together a package of somebody that's not in the military to take their kids back to the States. Let me let that sink in for a minute. They're willing to go give their lives. They both signed on the dotted line, but if they got kids that's involved, they have to have somebody that's not a part of the military, that's not going to be deployed at the time of war or whatever conflict that they're in, to take their kids back to the United States. Things that you need to pick up on. I didn't say take them back to your mothers. I didn't say take them back to your sisters. I didn't say take them back to anywhere. If that person that you relied on because you met in the military, that you felt comfortable enough, was in New York City, that's where they were taking your kids. Now you have to set up the other part of the plan where your parents or relatives go up and pick up the kids from where that person went back to. That person's only responsible to get the kids to that location. New York City from Texas is a long way, and that's the reason why I picked that distance. You have to have that in place. That's some of the planning that goes on to deploy soldiers out to the field. And that's not even what this show is about. It's about how important the 2028 presidential election is. We need somebody that's in place that can tell the truth. That's not about their personality. I don't care if you're Democrat. This a bipartisan. This is something that I'm putting out here today. It ain't Democrat. It ain't Republican. It don't even take into account any of that, being a Democrat or Republican. It takes into account of people that need to own up to their mistakes. People that shouldn't even be in office at this time. And I'm going to say it, and I said it last night. And while the Congress and the Senate are out for these 2 weeks, after what happened last night, they both should have flew back to Washington today. Because there's a lot of cleanup going on, and it's a bunch of lies being told in this country this morning. This morning, you woke up to some lies being told, and you might not like the messenger. And I say that with conviction. You may not like what I'm saying, how I'm saying, in my delivery process in which I get it there. But you need to understand that what we woke up to this morning is a bunch of lies. It's a bunch of lies. And I need to establish and go back to where I was going with this, because you need to know this most of all. When you get deployed, you carrying that flag on your shoulder. Whether you see it as American public or not, you carrying that flag on the shoulder. You are living in a place that is not yours. You are serving with the people who become your family. And you just heard me talk about you gonna have to trust somebody to take your kids back to America. If anything ever happened that they needed you as a GI to stay. Just want to say, because I don't want to miss any of this. And I'm doing just like this next person I'm gonna bring to the stage, because what he's trying to do is make sure his lie is good. What he's trying to do is make sure that he protects himself in the end. What I'm gonna do is bring him to the stage eventually, but I need you to know there's some people sitting out there on the ground. There's some people that's deployed around the world, and this is how they're feeling. It's more them than it is of him. It's a spark to remind you that I'm out here for a reason. I'm out here for a reason. I'm a part of something bigger, and I'm proud of who I am, where I am, and what I'm trying to do, and what the goal is. When I signed my name on that dotted line and I became a soldier, and I said, I want to serve this country. I knew that if I got deployed to a place where I was going to possibly pay the ultimate sacrifice, I knew the reason why I was there. And you have soldiers that have sacrificed their whole life to protect other soldiers. They have went through a whole process of putting themselves in situations, going to school, playing out whatever it takes to be a general. They call it war school. And you have to go there when you reach a certain rank if you plan on advancing. Over the past year, we done lost so many of those people that could really understand what's going on in America, that really could talk to a person that never served in the military and hopefully help them understand. Somebody that has served in some type of capacity in those areas as a commander or somebody that was over there just there to observe. As a soldier, you observe and you're like a sponge. But now we got people that's telling us what to do that's never been in those positions. Never. They can't even relate to the American bodies that's coming home in those boxes. See, they take them and put them in a bag. Then they put those bags in metal boxes. Then they put them into a box to ship them back to America. And I need to break this down so you can understand it. A lot of times they go through the process of separating their organs to keep the decay away. See, America, they don't understand when a person comes back in those boxes, it's something that's there just for representation for the living, not for their sake. They're already gone. So when you see those boxes coming back and you see them saluting them, it's a reason why they're standing there, because those people say, I will give my life for this country in order for the other people that who would not serve have a right to life under the U.S. Our style of living, not Iran, not the Middle East, not some third world country. But we're supposed to elect people in place that stand for us, that represent us as a whole. We lost it about a year ago. A little bit more than a year ago, we lost that from day one. And I've stated that, and I'm gonna still say that. And if you support what happened a year ago, this is your burden to carry. See, because you can't say that I didn't have a voice. You gave your voice to somebody that told you a lie, and I'm gonna have to say it. You gave your voice to somebody that told you a lie, and you still are trying to follow them, but you can't justify it. I hear black artists coming out all over the place. I hear superstars coming out all over the place. And they're saying, yeah, I voted for Donald Trump. What was stronger, your faith or the money that you was making? Because those soldiers that you seeing deployed over there that's losing their life, they're not famous. Most of them, if you heard their name, other than seeing that boxer come across the airplane with them GIs marching slowly, and that person out there looking at them, can't even identify with them. But this is what you voted for. You can't justify and say, oh, no, they felt the same way I did. This didn't just happen now. He was the same way when the first presidential cycle went through, when he was telling you to put bleach in your arms. You out there wearing them mega hats like you proud and bold. I can't find one of you out there with that hat on now, because he has embarrassed you in this past year that you have to take it off. Listen to what I'm saying. This country is at a crisis. This country has gotten to this point. We are being led by actors. We're being led actors. And I mean it. Because they don't know anything about the position that they're holding. And the person that's in charge of them is walking them down the aisle every single cotton picking day because of a personality. This nation was built on an institution. And the only thing that's saving us now is that institution can kick in at time to time when it's necessary. We can create a stopgap in 2026, but we need more than a stopgap if this is the way this man is going to portray America in this nation, in the way that he's doing it. If you don't know what's out there now, it ain't no institution, it ain't no rules, it ain't nothing. This is a personality. I don't like you, so I'm going to do this. I want my family to get rich. I want my family to make more money, so I'm going to do this if you don't agree with me. I've said how much needs to be cleaned up. And I go back to my other video. Go back to my other podcast that's out there and listen to it. I don't edit. I don't take down nothing. What I do is put it out here just like I'm saying it right now. I don't go back and try to clean up my words. I don't go back and try to restate something. If you hear it now, that's the way you're going to hear it when it goes back out to the American public. When it goes on the YouTube, that's the way it's going to come out. It's not going to change. And that's the problem. We allow people to play us for a fool in front of our face. We allow this man to get on a teleprompter and he starts off okay. And we thought that he was a leader representing the free world. But I can tell you this, by the time I get off this thing, you're gonna know who he really is. And it happened within the last 24 hours because he embarrassed this thing we call the USA, this concept of what we fought Britain for, our freedom for. He basically just put it up for grabs and anybody can take advantage of us right now. Pastor Reagan said last night, he said, Ron, I'm glad you're finally getting on board. He said, I'm glad you finally see what I've been trying to say. But you know the reason why he's saying that? Because I always gave this man the benefit of the doubt. Doubts are out the window. In 24 hours, doubts are out the windows because people's lives are at stake. And the people that have given their lives, they have already came home. It means that they gave it for nothing. They gave it for nothing. I am where I have come to because I don't feel that it's there. And I'm going to make sure that you understand where I'm at. It makes me straighten my back and want to look at the camera a little bit harder and say this. It sharpens your focus. It gives you that internal lift that only a soldier understands. I'm proud to be American. And it's not about the music. You don't need no music to say it. You don't need no music to express it. But what you do need is to be in that situation and have a commander-in-chief that you can't trust. A commander-in-chief. I don't even think he knows what a commander-in-chief is responsible for. Because the biggest thing that a commander-in-chief is responsible for is bringing them soldiers home. Just like them two pilots that we spent all that time trying to rescue. That would have been a failure beyond, I don't know what could have been done. But if you want to get a perspective of it, I'm gonna give you a fact mission to go on. I just want you to watch one movie, and I'm a reference. Look at Black Hawk Down. It's some scenes in that movie that have a general crime. And I'm telling you, you need to know that. Because I'm getting ready to put some stuff up that, and I'm going to tell you, this is propaganda at its highest level. And they had to get in front of this narrative because the next one that I'm going to show you was something that I found this morning too. And it's the truth. But I need you, I want to, if I have to step in and break this down, I want to put it up. I need to put it up. I need you to see it, and I need to give myself.
Killing Americans, lying.
I want to pause it right there because I want you to hear the whole thing, and I don't want you to miss none of it. I don't have my earphones on yet, but I need to put my earphones on for this part. You see that man that's standing in front of you? They let go of generals. They had probably had more time in service than he had in life. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute as I put my headphones on, as I try. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. And maybe you'll get it. The president appointed somebody to office that's never been to a war school, that's never headed a bunch of soldiers, a limited amount of exposure in leadership, a limited amount of anything. See, what people do is they talk a good game. But see, if you look at this picture, what your commander-in-chief has done to this is he basically put this person out there and he made him the Secretary of Defense. I'm gonna keep calling the Secretary of Defense because they didn't invent the term the Secretary of War. They didn't invent the term the Department of War. It was a part of the nation, and I said it last night, until Harry S. Truman changed it. Go back and research. I ain't putting nothing out there that I can't back up with facts. But listen to this guy as he talks, and I might stop the video at points. But I need you to understand exactly what he's saying. And he starts it off with one big lie. And I got my headphones on, so I'm ready.
Iran has been a threat to the United States and the free world for 47 years. Chance of death to America, targeting our people, killing Americans, lying and blackmailing their way toward a nuclear weapon, so they thought.
You know what? That's one of the biggest lies of why we over there than anything else. Think, and I'm gonna point out some facts that you can go back and research. Iran was a country that released black hostages when they had them because they say that you're part of the oppressed. And we don't want to be involved with the oppressed. We don't want to do any harm to the oppressed because you already understand where we are. See, in America, and I'm going to say, I got to say this like I want to say it, because in that little part that they talking about down there in Cuba, that little Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, where that we look at, that's part. If somebody gets into that, our infrastructure is just as exposed as anybody else. That's the reason why they didn't want Cuba occupied. But that's another story. Let's get through this alive.
No longer. Not on our watch. Other presidents marked time and kicked the can down the road. President Trump.
You heard me say that last night. Kick the can down the road. Continue to kick the can down the road. We eventually was going to get in this war, but we didn't have to do it on his watch. Him and his little chihuahua called Israel provoked this war. And Trump just fell right in it because he don't have enough experience to do anything. And he appoint people around him that don't have any more experience than he does. And this guy, if he had the backbone or something, he could have stood up and said, you know what, Mr. President, Israel started this. Let them take it on themselves. We just supply them weapons. We protected Israel to the utmost. We make Israel not a threat unless we get involved. But they go out there and they stand behind that little bitty gate and they bark like a little chihuahua, and then they run if the gate open or the dog get closer and just bark one time. They get back on that porch, and the porch should represent the U.S. in that area. And we get involved in a conflict that we can't get out of. I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm going to expose how big a lie this man is telling this morning.
Made history. From the strike that took out Qasem Soleimani, to tearing up the disastrous Obama-Iran deal, to the precision campaign that obliterated Iran's nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer.
That's Pastor now on here today. And I'm going to tell you, that's a damn lie. This is somebody trying to clean up the mistakes that they have made. And I need you to look at these people that's behind me. When I come back on the air, I took myself down to look at these people. This is stuff that they're going to have to clean up.
To the decisive military victory we just achieved in Operation Epic Fury. No other president has shown the courage and resolve of this commander-in-chief.
Nobody was dumb enough to follow Israel into a conflict that they couldn't control their way out of. They were smart enough to give Israel weapons to get into the conflict without getting their people involved in it. And now that we've been involved in it, this is what this man is telling you, that everybody that gave their life up until this point, it was a sacrifice for a personality that's running this country.
President Trump forged this moment. Iran begged for this ceasefire, and we all know it. As a president,
Iran didn't beg for nothing. As a matter of fact, they told you to come on, bring what you may. There are people, and I hate putting stuff out there that I haven't been able to research, but just think about this. What Iran did was put this man in a position where he could not fight. He could not fight his battle because he ran his mouth in a conflict where the battle could have been won, but you ran your mouth so much. And what Iran did was outsmarted you, because they said, we're going to put our women's and our kids out there. And we're going to block those facilities with them so that you can't bomb them. And probably when you got that intelligence back, you know that you cannot clean that up if you went through. So the 15 minutes before you came on talking about you're going to change this, I didn't even know it was going on. I'm going to be honest with you. I fell asleep last night trying to get on this show. And I was thinking why I needed a little bit of rest just to voice my opinion. And I told Pastor Reagan, said, I told you this thing is live. And I got on there. And when I got on there, Pastor Reagan had been talking about something I didn't even know about. But when he said something that keyed my attention, and I went out there and looked at it for myself, that's when I knew I was in something that I shouldn't even be saying nothing about. Something that this president cannot do. Something that this man is trying to clean up. And the president wouldn't even come out and clean it up himself this morning. He sent a person inexperienced. And if you see me reading a teleprompter for a message and you criticizing me, this is the Secretary of War that's reading from a piece of paper and a teleprompter, and he still can't get it right. He's no different than me. So what does that tell you? Just watch.
Truth this morning, a big day for world peace. Iran wants it to happen. They've had enough. Operation Epic Fury was a historic and overwhelming victory on the battlefield.
How is it a victory when you say you just putting up your weapons for about 2 weeks? A ceasefire to negotiate. How are you going to take victory for something that's not even over? If you did anything, you gave them an opportunity to reconstruct the position that they were in. And he called off a lot of leaders that had gone. But here's the embarrassment for the United States. And I'm going to tell you where it's at. Right now, you killed off all of those people. And if rumor or any facts to what they said, you gave them an opportunity to go in and negotiate, and they got with their people all at one location, and then you dropped a bomb on them. You dropped a bomb on them where they were sitting there probably trying to negotiate a peace deal that would have built up to where you are. But because you had them in a location, You couldn't sit on your hands like any other normal person that was the commander-in-chief of the free world and say, you know what? Let's see what happens after that. No, you went in there and bombed them. And then you wonder how come they don't want to negotiate with you in fair terms. It's more to it, but I ain't going into his. I'm gonna let him finish this lie.
A capital V military victory. By any measure, Epic Fury decimated Iran's military and rendered it combat ineffective for years to come. You see, in less than 40 days, one of our combatant commands, Central Command, CENTCOM, using less than 10% of America's total combat power, dismantled one of the world's largest militaries, the world's leading state sponsor of terror.
Now, you can't give them credit and take it away all at the same time. You said one of the largest militaries that's out there. You can't give them credit and take it away at the same time. This whole speech is contradictory throughout the whole process, and he reading it. Just pay attention.
Terrorism proved utterly incapable of defending itself, its people, or its territory. We untied just a fraction of our strength, and Iran suffered a devastating military defeat. Together with our Israeli partners, America's military achieved every single objective, on plan, on schedule, exactly as laid out from day one. Iran's Navy is at the bottom of the sea, whether it's the Soleimani class, their frigate class, their prized drone aircraft carriers, submarines, mine layers, sunk.
So why was the strait still closed? And if you look at any chart of the ships that were coming out of the strait before the crisis, you know what it did? If you look at that chart, it dropped straight down to the bottom where no ships was coming out of there. And up until last night, and I want you to remember this word when you hear it, because what he's saying is, I'm gonna go ahead.
Iran's Air Force has been wiped out. Iran no longer has an air defense, any sort of a comprehensive air defense system. We own their skies. Their missile program is functionally destroyed. Launchers, production facilities, and existing stockpiles depleted and decimated. And almost completely ineffective. Iran shot hundreds and hundreds of missiles and one-way attack drones at our aircraft carrier. They were obsessed with it, and they never got even close.
So what were those bodies that were coming home in body bags? What are the ones that you're not sharing with us? You showed us the ones where the president stood out there and saluted what was going on. What are the ones that you're not sharing with us? Where's the truth in what you're saying and you're not exposing? See, everybody used propaganda. Even Iran was using propaganda, because even in America, we know that if we lose our job, everybody has a number that they get to, that they're gonna eventually have to get another job, or they're gonna be out there on the street. It ain't no different with a war stockpile. You think they got them nuclear weapons at the back of the stack for no reason at all? No, they back there when you done ran out of everything else and you don't have a option. You saying I give anytime those nuclear weapons are brought into play, it's because that's your last option. You're giving up country, but you're not giving up nothing else. When they come out, that's your last option. So everybody has a number in which their military is going to go to, but everybody don't understand what that nuclear option is, and that's what it is at the very last. And you're not going to achieve victory, because when you shooting those nuclear wars at somebody else is shooting them back at you. And even if their weapons don't get into the continent of America and they explode, that's nuclear radiation coming down. So nobody wants to get to that button pushing, as we call it, that we take for granted, that we put in this person's hand that's putting out propaganda. Because he's not one that understands the responsibility that goes with him. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we need to do is put somebody in front of him that says, no, you can't do it. Or use the stopgap to get him out of office all together. Now, I'm just saying, I'm going to let this lie continue.
Every single one of those shots easily shot down miles and miles away from the Abe Lincoln. They were blowing ammo into Fantasyland. Contrast that with, most significantly, in last night's wave of more than 800 strikes, we finished completely destroying Iran's defense industrial base, a core pillar of our mission objective. What little they have left buried in bunkers is all they will have. They can still shoot, we know that. Their command and control is so decimated they can't really talk and coordinate, so they still may shoot here and there, but that would be very, very...
Do you see a correlation between him and me? He's looking up, he's looking down, he's looking to the side, he's looking to the right. He has more equipment available to him than any other president in the United States. If you think about Obama, even George Bush, and I say even George Bush, let me just say that, even George Bush Jr., and he wasn't at the top of the elevator, but he went to an elite school. And I'm going to tell you the reason why he got into that elite school is because his father served as vice president and president. Oh, you didn't know that? If you don't believe me, go out there and do your own research. Find out. But this guy's worse than all of them. And his boss is worse than all of them. Because his boss can't stick to a teleprompter because they may say a word that he can't pronounce. And then he goes off script. I'm sorry, let me do this.
But they can no longer build missiles, build rockets, build launchers, or build UAVs. Their factories have been razed to the ground, set back in historic fashion. You see, had Iran refused our terms, the next targets would have been their power plants, their bridges, and oil and energy infrastructure. Targets.
Justified lie. Because you build up until 15 minutes before you was going to do all of this, that you bragged onto the whole, I'm going to say the whole earth, so you can get a understanding. You bragged to the whole earth of what you was going to do to that little bitty country. And I'm going to show you how all of this is a lie, and I'm not going to even be the messenger. This is BS. This is BS power at its highest. What he's serving up to you this morning is trying to clean up this mess that his boss put him in, and he might end up getting fired. If you don't believe me, here's an example. Where is Pam Bundy today? If this goes south, they're going to blame all of this on him. Watch and see. Watch and see what I tell you. That's how he does business. He doesn't accept responsibility for stuff that he has did. But the highest office in the land made a decision to go to war with Israel wherever they go. And the next place that Israel chooses, I guess we're going to be there too. Let's go.
They could not defend and could not realistically rebuild. It would have taken them decades, and we were locked and loaded. They couldn't defend against it. President
Israel
Trump
was
had the
locked and
power to
loaded. You just
cripple
followed.
Iran's entire economy in minutes. But he chose mercy.
Chose. You see what I'm saying? He no different than you sitting at home.
Under overwhelming pressure. The new Iranian regime understood that a deal was far better than the fate that awaited them. This new regime just happened to look at what happened to their predecessors. Their top leadership was systematic.
I froze that there so you can see him flipping the page. And I guarantee you, without a doubt, he has a teleprompter off to his left and right that he could look up to. But he's getting caught up in his own words, in his own speech. And we can't afford to go through this as a free world. We're not leading, we are following now. We are putting our troops at harm's way. You can't go back and clean this up.
Automatically eliminated. The previous Iranian supreme leader, dead. The Supreme National Security Council Secretary, dead. The Supreme Leader Office Advisor, dead. The Supreme Leader Military Office Chief, dead. The Defense Minister, no longer with us. The IRGC Commander, dead. The Armed Forces General Staff Commander, dead. The Intelligence Minister, dead. The IRGC Navy Commander, no longer here. The IRGC Intel Chief, dead. I skipped over a bunch and I could go on and on and on.
But you didn't cover this point about all the people that you named that are dead. The ones that replaced them got you doing something that you're trying to clean up right now. The ones that replaced them are a little bit more ahead of you than where you're expressing right now. The same man that's flipping these pages up here, he's telling you a bunch of lies. Yeah, those people may be dead, but even the people that came behind them that probably didn't have the experience of the people that was in front of them are still embarrassing the U.S. You're dealing with the second team and you can't even get that right. The second team, the bench sitters, the people that sit way down on the bench, if you know anything about sports, they may not never get in. As a matter of fact, they might grab the water or the towel to take it to the top people that's out there representing the team, but they still get a trophy at the end. This America has fallen into a point where everybody gets a trophy just for participating. And that's the regime that we're living in. I want a trophy. I want the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't care if it's given to me. I don't care how I get it, how I get recognition for it. I'm not going to follow the rules. If she gives it to me, I'm going to claim it as my own because it should have been mine. This man, if you look at him real close, he got an American flag that's in his lapel pocket. He should never have none of that. He shouldn't even represent the U.S. He would have, under any other president out there, and I guarantee you those ones that's right behind me, he would have never made the list. And each one, almost every one of them had their own faults. As a matter of fact, one of them held a higher command than what he did. And you just heard me say that he didn't even get to war school. He didn't even get the teachings to know the position where he's at. This is not a job for you to OJT into. He should have never been there. And I think he's going to find that out. And that's the reason why President Trump put him out there to make this little garbage speech that he's making, because Trump didn't want no parts of it. So when Trump let your butt go, you understand.
To include the new so-called new supreme leader wounded and disfigured. This new regime was out of options and out of time, so they cut a deal. They know this agreement means that they will never, ever possess a nuclear weapon. Under the
Let me go back to the stage. I want to put myself up here because I'm going to add him back up in just a minute. I want you to understand what I'm saying. I want you to see who's telling you this, because I have no major platform out there. I talk to the people that are everyday people that listen to the news, that think that their vote count, but we don't realize that our vote is not counting because of other circumstances out there. We don't realize that we're lied to in the media every day. And it's not about being fake news, because the only person that's fake in this whole country is that man called Trump. He's fake. He faked his way into the presidency, and now that he's there, this past year has shown you, when given a second chance, he still can't get it right. He still cannot get it right. And I have my friends out there. Sometimes I get a little bit louder, I get a little bit excited, And my buddies call me, they text me in the background, and Ron, take it down a notch. But I'm telling you, it almost sounds like we're in a comic strip. It sounds like we're in the comic strip. I got to get through this because I want, like I said, I'm not going to be the one to tell you. I'm going to let you figure it out for yourself.
Any nuclear material they should have will be removed. Any material, they should not have will be removed.
I'm going to stop that lie right now because y'all don't need to see no more of it. All the rest of it was lies from the time that he started to the time that he finished.
Party cannot spin. Iran was a.
I want you to listen to the words, as they say. I want you to listen to the words. I'm not hiding who this came from. I want you to go out there and research it for yourself, because if it's not true, I want you to know where it came from. And I'm going to stop her at one word that she's going to say, and I need you to see it.
Absolutely no threat to us. We have to endure these nauseating press conferences where he says, oh, Iran wants us to keep bombing them. Meanwhile, the footage.
No. I messed up.
The United States is completely capitulated to Iran. And
in the military, they say you have to say it 3 times. So I want you to hear clearly what this lady said, what she's saying right now. iHip News, that's who she's from. I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to tell you up front. You can go out there and research it for yourself. Listen to the words that she say.
The United States is completely capitulated to Iran, and I'm so grateful that he did.
Did you hear what she say? The only other time I use that word on these airways to describe somebody, if you go back and look at it, I'm going to do just like this other person that's coming up. If you go back and look at the tapes, it was Hakeem Jeffries that I said that he capitulated in the Charlie Kirk crisis. He capitulated, and then he wanted to come back and justify what he did when all of America seen what he did, how he voted. He capitulated. And I'm going to call out anybody that's out there. I'm not going to sit there and let him take all the blame, but I'm just saying there was more people than him that capitulated at that time. But this is the president of the United States, the chief and commander out there capitulating, and she going to kind of tell you some truths that America needs to listen to, because the mainstream media, they're afraid to do it. Just listen. It ain't me talking. Don't crucify the messenger. Just listen to what she says.
Because we all woke up yesterday morning to him wanting to annihilate a civilization in Iran. This is utterly insane. It's utterly insane, the whiplash of this man, that he is this close to the football, the nuclear weapons. Here's his post last night. And he goes on and on here to say that he has agreed to all of these things. And that's true. Iran sent him a 10-point plan that he agreed to. And Trump talks a big game, that he's this master negotiator. But let's look at what he agreed to versus what Obama's nuclear deal was, that he tore up simply because he doesn't like Barack Obama. Pop this.
She's going to break down this for you, but I need you to understand what's going on right here. This personality tore up an agreement that was in place only because it had somebody else's name on it, only because he thought it would have gave him the award. He's more into awards. He's more into, me. Y'all relied on me. Y'all did this. Y'all know that y'all couldn't survive if it wasn't for me. Well, America's been here for 275 years. Somebody tap him on the shoulder and tell him that. Tell him that flag that he wears on his lapel, that it didn't happen within the last year. Somebody need to tap him on his shoulder and remind him that America fought for their freedom from the British. And many of people have given their life up until this point for us to stand in this nation that we call America. But I'm going to digress because I need you to hear this breakdown of what is going on in the world, and to explain to you why everything that you heard from that man earlier was just a complete lie.
So the Iran deal by Obama, Strait of Hormuz open for free. Iran limits uranium enrichment. Iran agrees to make no nuclear weapons. Iran allows international inspectors to ensure compliance, and inspectors confirm Iran's full compliance. Here is Iran's ceasefire by Trump. And I want to note that this ceasefire is coming when we have American deaths, Iranian deaths, billions and billions and billions of dollars. So here's what he has agreed to. Strait of Hormuz closed, only open for $2 million per ship. And guess who gets that $2 million? You think the Art of the Deal guy gets it? No, that guy bankrupts casinos. Iran is getting that. Iran makes no guarantee of limit on uranium enrichment. Iran makes no guarantee of no nuclear weapons. Iran makes no guarantee to allow international inspectors. And MAGA's like, ooh, Trump's playing 5D chess, the art of the deal. So think about this. While the United States of America.
You know, Byron Glass said something last night. Now, I want you to, now this comment came up even before I did my show. Even before I did my show. That's what I opened up the show to. I was supposed to bring it up earlier, but I forgot about it because I get in my own way, and I need you to read this next comment. There is not one of those Democrats that doesn't have skeletons in their closet. They are all an embarrassment to the American people. Let me just say this. Whoever you are, Gregory Flynn, 2125, whoever you are, with no picture up there, just some information that you put up. If you don't understand what's been happening in the last 24 hours, what's been took place in the last year, and I listened to them last night, even on my show, the skeletons that you're talking about these people have in their closets don't even measure up. And I'm going to call out one of them right off the back. Epstein files. Epstein files. Epstein files. It didn't happen yesterday. It went on when he was a young man, and he's still carrying it. And it's still going on. And come to find out, Epstein wasn't the highest person out there that could have been convicted at the time. It just shows you what money can do. It can protect you. Money has protected this man all the way through, and he's got people like you brainwashed. And the only reason why I call it brainwashed is because you couldn't go down the street in the state of Texas without some kind of American flag and mega being on vehicles everywhere. But I guarantee you can go down any street in any freeway or anything right today, and you won't see mega out there nowhere. It's an embarrassment. You have been embarrassed around the world. Make America great? Make America worse? Mega Gear probably was selling faster than Shadora Sanders jerseys at one time. But you can't find nobody out there willing to put them on. And if you see them with it on and you ask them, what did that man do for you? They can't tell you anything. Well, I just watched the news. He did this, he did that. What is factual about what you're saying? None of it. If you don't believe me, go out there and do a poll for yourself. Here in Houston, we had a lady that was standing on the corner of NASA Road 1. Speaking of NASA, they got people up in space. And this lady's on the corner of NASA Road 1 going down toward NASA. And she has a big sign that I seen in the morning that she said, I hate Trump. And she doesn't look like me. No media has went down there and filmed that lady. You don't think that's a story? I digress. I'm going back. I'm going to take this off the stage because it don't even deserve a comment, but I gave it one.
And its citizens are facing gas prices that the Republican Party cannot spend. Iran was of absolutely no threat to us. We have to endure these nauseating press conferences where he says, oh, Iran wants us to keep bombing.
I stopped it right there because I need to say something right there, but I need to get myself back on the stage. It didn't have anything to do with anybody else except this little chihuahua called Israel. That's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why we went into Iran. That's the reason why we allowed Israel to destroy Gaza. They have a pack here in America that's probably one of the biggest pack out there. It's called AIPAC. And if you don't believe me, when these people that we elect to Congress go to speaking against the policies that's going on in Israel, they send those members they send their people into that office, whether it's lobbyists, bolsters, or whatever you want to call them, posters or whatever you want to call them. They go into those offices and they tell that person, look, we don't need you to, we know how you feel, but we just need you to stop saying it as much. They want to curtail people speaking against them. And I call them AIPAC. Go out there and research. If you ain't never heard of AIPAC, go out there and see why they are in this country. Go out there and see how many people they contribute. Democrats and Republicans. AIPAC. Democrats and Republicans. Nobody is innocent. Because somehow, somewhere, everybody has taken money. Or AIPAC has went out there and destroyed the people's reputation within their community by using their money to take down anything that stands against what they stand for. I guarantee you, and I need you to listen and be careful about and understand what I'm saying. I guarantee you those people in Israel that have lost their houses, that they've been had for years, that these bombs have dropped on, I guarantee you that those people are not behind AIPAC in America. Probably don't even know AIPAC exists in America and what they do to change the messaging in America. And they're big enough to change the messaging in the media. And that's the reason why you only hear about what's going on. If somebody's speaking about that little chihuahua, the reason why you only hear is because little media channels like myself, we're not bought. That lady that was just on the air, she's not bought. But you won't hear the mainstream media calling that little chihuahua that's got the leech to America, that's leading America around like I got control of it. I'm the master. I'm the person that's in charge. I'm the person at the end of the leech that, when I was a little kid, sick 'em. They put America on everybody that they want to put them on. But they ain't no bigger than what's the smallest state that we got? I want to say in the Union. Let's say Rhode Island. Every nation over there is bigger than what that country is, but they have America on a leash, on a dog leash. We need to stop that. And I'm going to tell you so you can understand the reason why this man in office doesn't like the next person that I'm bringing to the stage. And I didn't try to edit it. I didn't try to take it out. I want him to tell you in his own terms because I want you to listen to the messenger. You might not like me. You might not like my style. You may not like how I deliver my process. But I need you to hear somebody else that maybe you like. At one time, everybody looked up to him. But I need you to hear it in his own words. I'm gonna add it to the stage right now.
Don't say you want to do anything like it. But
let me do this because I need to. There he is. But I want to give him the full stage because America needs to hear this. Now I want you to pay attention to the dates that's up there because I'm playing it. I got it this morning, but I did not get it the right way. But I had to copy it like I got it because I was a few minutes before going on the air, and I need you to hear this. This is important.
Now, in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like it, But it gives you a window into how Donald Trump thinks. Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the quote-unquote real Americans who support him and the outsiders who don't. Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him. Now, if you challenge Trump on his concepts, he will fall back on one answer. This is blanket answer for everything. Blame immigrants. He wants you to believe that if you let him round up whoever he wants, ship them all out, put together these big detention camps, your problems will be solved. Bluster and bumbling and chaos, we have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse. I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. In Donald Trump's mind, the military does not exist to serve the Constitution or the American people. Like everything else, he thinks the military exists to do his bidding. And he has said that if he's elected, he'll use the military to go after, quote, the enemy within, which he seems to define as anybody who criticizes him. Trump's other big idea is to slap a tariff on everything from food to TVs. Now, almost every economist who has looked at this idea says that won't lower prices, that makes prices higher. Donald Trump's former chief of staff said that Trump told him he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. Now, in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like Hitler. But it gives you a window into how Donald Trump thinks. Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the quote-unquote real Americans who support him and the outsiders who don't. Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge...
I need you, I'm bringing myself back to the stage because I need you to understand something. What you just heard me go over in the past hour that I've been on the air, most of it wasn't my own words. It was words from somebody else that we should have the faith to believe in, that they got the best interests of this country. The last man that left the stage is no longer in office. And anywhere in history, you go back and tell me where somebody came out because it was the nature of which America is in, the place in which America is in, that they need to come out and support. These people behind me, what this show was about today, a Democratic presidential field, they got a big task. It don't matter which one of them steps up. They got a big task. And I named it, and this task started day one. I got to give them some type of justice because I spent some time on them. I spent some time on each one of them to deliver that message today, because if we don't start fighting now, it's not going to be a democracy to fight for. I want to show you. I switched cameras to make this point. We got to preserve what we call democracy at all costs. Even if it costs getting that man out of office, we got to switch it. We got to change him. We got to change who he is and who he represents, and what he has done to America over the past year shows you that he's not even about America. He's not even about institutions and laws. He's not about rules of order or any of that. It's about a personality. And we can't continue to let a personality take us down the road that we don't want to be in. And I got to go back to my other screen because I can see what's going on. I'm a one-man bandstand. And if I'm able to catch this, you gotta be able to get round. You gotta be able to make it. We always say it here like this. We put the information out there. You make your own decision on what you want to do after then. That's the whole point. And that's what the news used to be about at one time. You put it out, you tell both sides of the story, or you tell your side of the story, and let people go from there and make a decision on which way they want to go. Not this narrative today. I'm gonna put on my, here's one of those things. I'm gonna put on my gear, and I want certain people to follow me because we got the message that we're putting out. I'm gonna put on my I'm gonna say it. Gotta say it to tell the truth anyway. put on my sorority or whatever organization that you call yourself a part of, that you became a part of, that's been out there for years, and I'm gonna call you out and I'm gonna tell you that you need to be a part of where I'm at because of the position that I hold. No. It's more voters out there that don't have a clue into the direction that you're trying to take them. And because you get a few of them, how did that work out for Kamala Harris? She's a Delta. She's still a Delta. But how did it work out as far as messaging? You can't take that message out to the American people. This man does enough on his own that you don't need anybody behind you. You got a large enough platform out there. It's 10 times the size of mine, and you work to get there. I know where you came from. When I was on Blog Talk US, when I was on Blog Talk Radio, you started off just like I did. But here's the difference between me and you. You had an audience that came with you. Don't mess it up by not delivering the message. The message is that this is a fool in this office. And we need everybody that that's over the age of 18 that can vote. We need them at the polls. And I want to say this because I need to say it. If you're black and you're a brother and you look like me and you're out there attacking one another while this country is going down the drain, there's something wrong with you. Because you have made it where people have sacrificed to get. See, you can wear a t-shirt, you can wear whatever you want to wear and get your message across because you have accomplished something that other people gave their lives for to do, but they had to dress up in a suit and tie to be heard. Now you have the same thing that I have here, and you attacking one another. What does that look like to us? What does that look like to us? What does that make us look like as a people? A brother just lost his life not too long ago fighting for a cause across America. And I guarantee it's a lot of people rolling over in their graves based on what we're doing right now. And I want to say this, and I want to be clear when I say this. We are fighting a war, not a war, but we are fighting a campaign against two of the largest institutions in America. And I'm going to go here because I don't care if you like it or not. One of them is called Target and one of them is called Walmart. And the person that leads the fight probably had never walked in neither one of them. You don't realize that it's black people in there with jobs that's feeding their family in both of those institutions. Now, if you want to mount a campaign against something, if you want to get black people into something, go into some of these smaller communities and see how many of those other people are raising their family off of what you leave on the table. They send their kids to school, and the reason why they sell the stores in those neighborhoods is because their last child has elevated and went to college and got an education by working in those stores that they selling cigarettes, beer, and everything to everybody that's in America that's poor enough to accept it. They get, you can't sell a single cigarette by law anywhere, but they selling single cigarettes because they can afford to sell it at your cost. So as you sit up there with your designer clothes and all the rest of that, fighting your battles and want to use all those words and different people that you're trying to impress, save your own people. Try to encourage them. Take some of that church out of your institutions and go into that community and open up a store and show us that this is where we're at. Because Those other organizations ain't destroying as much as you putting out there. As a matter of fact, they're making you look like a fool. And you got bigger platforms than I got. We're fighting too much infighting among ourselves. Among ourselves. Brothers are going after brothers because one person's neck is too short. One person's weight is overweight. One person's numbers are 10 times what the other person's number is. So I'm just going to throw money up in the air and just let it go and show you that's what I'm about. That's me. It ain't about you no more, brother. Too many people wearing suits and ties to look like them so they could get a voice on this media that we call the airways, social media, and you don't even know it. Or if you know it, you're not accepting it. These people behind me have a purpose. They can change the thought process within America. And I got some comments coming up, and I want to make sure I get them out because I've never seen this person. Thank you for participating. I might not agree with you. Somebody say, you're lost, bro. I'm not lost. Because if you paid any attention, I didn't put those words out there. I didn't put those words out there. This, your commander in war, whatever, the Defense Department of War, that was his words. It wasn't my words. So who's the loss? The next lady that came up, she told the truth. And the president that came up after that, so who's lost? You telling me that I'm lost, but you don't have no facts to substantiate what you're saying. This happened within the last 24 hours. You must be one of them people that they go up to on the street and you got on your mega t-shirt, your mega hat, and they ask you one simple question. What has the man did for you that makes you wear that hat and that shirt? And you can't come up with an answer. And I'm going to say something before I get off this air that's going to really piss people off like you. It's a war chimp. Who are you calling a chimp? Because you just said I didn't know what I was talking about. If you're talking about Trump, you just say I didn't know what I was talking about. Then you come back and contradict what I'm saying by saying it's a war chimp. I think a chimp would do a better job. I'm going to leave that there. I think a chimp would do a better job. I don't see any more comments up there. But if you've been listening to me, I just want to tell you, I'm not trying to say something that's not out there. I'm not saying something that you can't go out there and prove. And I hope I stay within the narrative of what these people behind me deserve. They deserve an opportunity because the person that we got in there really shouldn't be in there. And I hope that they get the opportunity to get into office. But the bigger thing that I hope, and Pastor Riggins, Byron Glass, if you're out there, listen to this and listen to what I said last night and listen to what I'm saying right now to anybody that's out there. I said I would never vote for Tarico. But I ain't running behind nobody's back. I ain't doing it. I'm doing it on the air right now. If voting for Tarico gets this fool out of office and initiates initiates the action to get him out of office, I'll vote for Tallarico. But if Tallarico get up there and want to sit on his hands in any type of way and not vote to get this person out of office, this personality that the rest of the world is seeing us is, I'll call him out too. Just like I'll call out Hakeem Jeffries and anybody else that's out there. And for all of the rest of the people that I spoke about before I get off the air, I want to tell you something. Stop it. You got too much other information out there and you got too big a platform to take yourself down to any level where you arguing amongst each other. That should be the least of our worries. I don't care how short your neck is. I don't care how big your body is. I don't care what your outside habits outside the studio are. I don't care about your numbers. I don't care about who you criticize on the air. At least you're not fighting among each other when you're criticizing somebody and you may not know what you're talking about, but I'm going to still give you that. Stop fighting among each other. You're making us look like fools out here. And if you don't hear anything else from this little old podcast, get that. Stop clapping back at each other, as your young kids call it, because you're worse than our worst enemy, and he's sitting in the White House. And he's giving you something to talk about. Now, let me do this a little bit of justice for these people real quick. I want to do this a little bit of justice for these people that's behind me. I want to give them a full stage before I get out of here. 2028 Democratic field, pros and cons and institution readiness. Kamala Harris, I want you to read it for yourself. I'm not going to go through it. But I guess I should say something. She has a national name, foreign policy. She's exposed on, we knew she was exposed when she ran, historical role, experience in federal executive branch. She's been there. She was the vice president of the United States. But on paper, she looked like she should be the front runner. But I'm going to tell you, she has some vulnerabilities. Mixed approval ratings. I'm leaning like I'm doing what I got did because I can't see it back there. 2024 campaign baggage. Now I'm going to tell you what that is. She's going to have to answer some questions about why she never changed on Biden's policies. And she's always a target of the GOP. Always. And they're going to hold her accountable for everything that she does. I'm going through this fast. Gavin Newsom, high-profile defender of Democratic policies, strong media presence, executive record in the largest state economy. Gavin, that's gonna hurt you because you got a lot of homelessness going on in California, and it ain't doing it. The weather ain't that. The weather's nice. I guess if you're gonna be homeless, why not go to California? Anybody else that want to comment, go ahead and comment, because when I get through with this, I'm getting off the air. I'm just telling you. If you want to send your comments for it, bring them, type them out. I'll put them on the air before I get off. Gretchen Whitmire, she has all kind of strengths, but she's not known nationally. She's gonna get attacks based on COVID. Good messenger. It's very few things that people say about Gretchen Whitmire, but she doesn't have a national name that's out there. And that's going to be hard for anybody to overcome. And the GOP is attacking her too, early on. So when you ask me, why am I doing this early in the campaign? I'm doing it because that's what they're doing. They're destroying your candidates right now behind. There's so many means going on behind the door of how they can destroy it from these PACs and super PACs. Politics under the table, politics on top of the table. They are having this discussion, but we need to get these people out here. We need to be talking about them. You need to figure out who you're going to vote for, do the research and everything else. I don't want to be on here this long, but I need to give them some credence while I'm on here because they're not getting it. Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, swing state governor. One of the swing states that we need to bring on board. He has a lawyer background. He has a background, and he could be an answer to some of the stuff that's going on to straighten it back out where somebody just went in there and just messed it totally up. He can communicate. If you remember before Kamala got in there, this was who that group, I ain't calling their names, but here's who that group wanted to run up there. Josh Shapiro. Disciplined communicator. I ain't did enough research on him, so I'm just going to tell you. I don't know where you graduated from or nothing like that. New to the national stage. That's you can't dispute that. National record still forming. He still is trying to establish who he is. I'm going to go through this one. Pete Buttigieg, former transportation secretary. He's going to face the same battle that Kamala Harris is going to have to face. They didn't get off a message soon enough about Biden. They didn't get off a message soon enough about Biden, so they're going to have to answer that question. He's a veteran. Policies is fluent. Appeals to the suburban and younger voters. It's going to take all of that. Suburban and younger voters. Go out there and see who's leading the voting record for Democrats that's in office. Limited large-scale executive experience. GOP attacks over transportation crisis. Hands tied. Hands tied. Had to support Biden in any way you could because he was a part of his cabinet. Wes Moore. Man, stop playing. Stop playing. If you're going to do it, do it. I heard you on those podcasts out there, and here's what I'm going to say. I made a comment in one of your things. Happy birthday, by the way. But stop playing. Go ahead and put your name in there. He has probably more military time than that guy that I brought up on the stage earlier. Just saying. Strong communicator. Compelling personal story to tell you where you came from to where he got to. And see, that's the problem. When you come from millions, it's hard for you to explain to people how you got there. And what you did with your millions while you had them. He didn't have millions. And I'm just in case you didn't know it, that's who I would like to see take on that challenge. Very new on the national stage. Yeah, his name is not known, but he's the governor. And I need you to go out there and find out, Google who Wes Moore is. Governor of Maryland. Governor of Maryland I'm going to say this, has a nice looking family. Nice looking family. Whew. All right, I'm continuing to move on. I don't want to be here too long. Andy Beshear, that's Byron Glass' person that he supports. Military background, compelling personal story. Again, strong communicator. His vulnerabilities, very new on the national stage, limited national record. But I don't think I got any more, so I'm going to take this off this. Oh, Pritzker. J.P. Pritzker. I'm sorry, Mr. Pritzker. Governor of Illinois, big state executive, strong on abortion rights. Major, can raise money, major fundraiser. Tied to the, and vulnerabilities tied to the Illinois fiasco issues. I know what they're talking about, but I'm going to let you go out there and Google it and find out for yourself. GOP, they call him a big spender. If he's spending the money for the right reasons, what's wrong with a big spender? I'm going to take this off the stage because I want to say something. The person that should be called a big spender is the person that's in office. Because now we're going to need those farmers to go back to work. We're going to need those fields to come back into operation. We're going to need those fields that's now in Louisiana and in Texas that's growing crawfish to put a vegetable out there to feed our own people. Our reputation around the world sucks. Sucks. I saw that pilot on one of those airplanes, and it had a sign on it that says sucks. That's where I got my thought process on that. I'm trying to get something to the stage that I had, and it's important now. Where you start is not where you finish. Where you start is not where you finish. But we, as American people, need to take something into accountability, and I'm getting it up. I'm doing what your president and your Department of War person has done all morning when he did his description. I'm pulling it up. But see, think about this. He has a whole group of people that can put his stuff up. I'm sitting behind here And I'm just one person. I'm sitting here and I'm just one person. No excuses. No excuses. No excuses. It's going to still be put out there. Oh, I thought I was one person, but that didn't even take. So let me go back over here and do it one last time, and then I'm going to be out of y'all hair real quick. I say out of your hair, I mean it. Because I did what I said I wanted to do. You know, true leadership must be carried. Must be carried. A real commander-in-chief, and I'm not speaking about what a commander-in-chief should do. I never held that position. The role is not about any individual. It must be conveyed with the same sense of purpose, not only to soldiers in waiting, but to a national, but nationally as a whole message. You gotta bring everybody into your fold when you accept that responsibility in chief. And you gotta understand that, as we always say, the buck's gonna stop with you. Don't matter if it's good, bad, indifference, anything that you do out there, it's gonna stop with you. So if you want to run for that office, just know that the buck is gonna stop with you. Your responsibility is to treat every person equally. Every person equally. And that's key. And that's key. When I put out this message and I do these podcasts, I'm doing it because I want this country to become a better place. I'm not trying to tear it down. But that person that's in office doesn't have the same feeling when he talks. He doesn't do it he does it to uplift himself. And when he feels like he's wrong, he can't come back and correct it. There's nothing wrong with him. Because leadership is not about standing above the mission. It's about standing inside of it. Inside of it. If the mission requires you getting your hands a little dirty, you should be saying to myself, I'm not above it. There ain't nothing I can't do. I'm willing to do it. I'm right there. If you can do it, I can do it. Not just a photo op. Go stand there and understand what it takes for that person to do that job that you say that anybody I ain't gonna say it. Anyway, I want you to go out there and I think that either one of these people behind me in the Democratic Party will say that they will go out there, not just a photo op, they would try to do your job. Any one of them. Not just for a photo op. I'm tired of people doing stuff just for a photo op. In order to get your message across, you got to run to a plant or something in America and tell them that you're there for them. If your messaging was correct, you wouldn't have to do that. It's a standard out there. It's been set by every president that's been in office until the past year. And we never knew how much power the president of the United States had until day one of this presidency, Executive orders are flying around left and right. That's what the American people want to see. That's what mega people want to see. But now it's coming back to haunt you. It's coming back to haunt you. And you don't understand what went wrong. Well, it went wrong with day one. And it has not stopped going wrong. If you're not ready to, let me just say this, and I want to be clear with each one of these candidates. If you're not ready to carry this weight, if you're not willing to stand in the same storms as you ask others to walk through, then don't run. That's for a Democrat or Republican. Don't run for the highest office in the land if you're not willing to do that. And if you got a track record, if you got on paper that you turned down, that you ran from something, don't do it. Because that's something that you're going to always have to explain. And you should make that person explain how could he send people to war and then claim victory when it wasn't the war is not over. They basically got everything that they want and destroyed An agreement that was in place for no reason at all. This is about he's about personality. He's about that dollar. And we got to stop having people that are about the dollar at the expense of America. That song that I made reference to earlier. Let me see if I got any more comments. That song that I made reference to earlier. I'm proud to be American. We got to get that back somehow. And if you're not willing to get it back, don't run. Sit down. Do something else. Democrat or Republican, if you're not willing to get that pride back, sit down. I want to get this last little bit up here, and I might have to go here. But I think I said everything that I need to say. Stay where you are if you want. Stay where you are. If you're a governor and you're not willing to make it better for everybody, not just in a speech, stay where you are. Stay where you are. And I did this last time, and I really want to do it right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to do it right now because I need you to understand where we are as a nation. Let me see if I can do this. I want to see, because I might have to take myself off the stage to do this. But this is so important. This moment in history is so important that we need to do it. I need to do this. And somebody might say, why are you doing this? I want to make sure that I get it right so you can see it. I want to put this up in front of my picture, and I need you to see it. Let me see if it's there. Let me get it. One generation removed from these two people right here. In case you didn't know, this was what Pastor Riggins was talking about last night. In case you don't know what those uniforms represent, they represent the KKK in America. One generation removed. So you can make all the comments. I'm going to bring it back up. About a person being a war chimp. And I don't know who you are. This person that made this comment, it's a war chimp. It's more than a war chimp. It's a person that has his personality involved in how he was raised in America. See, if you look at the picture carefully, his father is just, seems like he holding his uniform, his outfit up. But that mother is wearing it proudly. Pastor Riggins, I hope I did your image justice. I hope I showed what you wanted to try to portray him as last night. And he's proud of it. Oh, let me see if I got this other one. See, Pastor Riggins said something last night. I couldn't find it. But let me see if I can find it before I get off the air, because this one too. This is something that's held over America too. And he's got to own it because he put us here. So while that person's talking about a chimp, I wish I could find it. Pastor, I'm going to do it on the next show because I had all this stuff laid out, but I'm putting up stuff that's not in effect. And I don't want to put up no false rumors. I want to make sure that this is about the truth as I go through this. I want to make sure this is the truth. So as I come up with this, I think I found it. No, I didn't. The Epstein files still haunt America. I'm going to bring up this comment again. It's a war chimp. He's also been accused of being a pedophile. He's also been accused and tried 34 convictions. If he wouldn't be in the White House right now, where would he be? So while you running out there talking about make America great, the man that you putting your faith in should be in the jailhouse right now if he wasn't the president of the United States. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I hope that you learned something. And I'm sorry if I did a disservice to the 2028 presidential Democratic nominees. But this story had to be told by somebody, and I just happen to be that somebody today. So I'm not going to go any further. I want to leave you with what I should leave you with. Because if I brought up that picture that I just brought up, I want to see if I got it. If I got it, I'm going to play it. If I don't, I'm not going to even worry about it. All right, I'll play it next time. Y'all take care. Enjoyed you. We're going to get out of here. I hope I left you with something to think about, if nothing else. And I enjoyed doing this show. I didn't enjoy the person I was talking about. And I don't enjoy how America is being portrayed at this particular point in time. So take care. Take care. Take care. Thank God, thank God, thank God that we got some way to get the truth out. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.